Today we're reviewing the Saboteur for the Xbox 360 and PS3 and PC. It's a multi-platformer. This game was developed by a partnership between EA and Pandemic, the last game that Pandemic is ever making. Popular games from this franchise, not the franchise, the developer, the Mercenary game franchise, Mercenary 2, World in Flames, the game. It's a whole other story. However, alright, but to the point. Alright, this game takes place during World War II, and our main character's name is Sean Devlin or something, whatever, who cares. He's a race car driver. He's Irish, which is pretty funny because the entire game is pretty black and white, and that's not a joke. I mean, the color's black and white in the beginning until you liberate France, and the game's black and white in the sense that everybody's either French or a Nazi. I mean, considering one of the missions, you'll meet some strangers that actually aren't or don't belong to neither of those ethnic groups. But, I mean, splitting it in a vast majority, it's either you're French or you're a Nazi. And so, the main point that Sean, or his purpose, is to help the resistance liberate France. Majority of the game is controlled by Nazis. I mean, you start off already making a bunch of Nazis mad, and so then you go and you shut down their whole scheme and you liberate your first part of France. And the cool thing about this is that once you liberate a part of France, color is restored to the area. So once the color is restored, you get a lot of just beautiful popping deep colors. When you see green, it's a deep green. When you see the sky, it's a nice color. It's a nice color. It's a nice game. It's a really nice game. It's really underrated. One thing I like about this game, considering, Sean, he's Irish, you get to call cigarettes fags, which is also an achievement. You smoke a bunch of cigarettes. Fags. Cigarettes, fags. It's funny. A huge complaint of this game is the control scheme. I find it easy. The controlling of the vehicles, I mean, Mercenaries 2, I mean a lot. Mercenaries 2 didn't have the best control scheme for vehicles, didn't have the best controller, the handling for vehicles. However, I think this game is a little bit of an improvement. It's a little bit better for the vehicles. There's a lot of, well, not a lot, but considering that Sean Devlin's past is racing, you do some racing missions, and they're a little difficult. They're a tad bit difficult. But the controls for the vehicles, they're good enough that it's not controller throwing rage quitting difficult. See, one of my favorite things about this game is, I hate to compare it to an exclusive, but I have to. Metal Gear Solid 4, the first in the franchise, in my opinion, where you can actually decide to go stealth or action. Yeah, this game has that. You can either decide to go into one of the depots, or whatever you want to call it, the bases, the Nazi camp things, wherever they do their stuff. You can either be a total rebel and go in with explosives and your guns and just go out all blazing and just, destroy them, or you can do a logical thing and be stealth and tactical. And I mean, it definitely takes a lot more time and effort when you can just go and destroy. I think there may be an achievement for doing something stealthily. I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. Let's see. Something that I'd have to complain about the game. The game has some bugs. There's some weird things where Nazis float, and some of the guns shoot blank rounds. Don't have any visuals for that. The cows are just dead in pieces, which is another complaint of mine. When you kill cows, they don't explode. They just don't. You don't punch a cow and they explode. That annoys me. That annoys me like crazy. God. But that's minor though. I mean, some of them are pretty hilarious. I mean, there's like this boob glitch where this lady's boobs jump around. It's pretty funny. You'll see that there. This game is Grand Theft Auto meets Assassin's Creed because it's an open world game, and like Assassin's Creed, you can pretty much free climb. I'm not really kind of blanking out on the specific word that is, but I call it free climbing. You can climb buildings, scale them like crazy, scale pretty much anything. You can hijack cars in high-speed chases. It's pretty cool. It's one of the things I admire about the game. So, to get down to the components that I rate the games on, alright, the difficulty, I give the game a 4 out of 10. An open-world game like this, a free-roam sandbox shooter, usually you don't get to decide the difficulty level. However, in this game, it has casual, normal, and hard, or something like that. Casual is not really casual, it's more or less medium. Medium is more or less hard, and hard is more or less veteran. Other than that, I mean, it's not difficult. It's not too difficult. It's a 4 out of 10. It's really not that hard to beat. It took me about 2 days. The sound, I give the sound a 7 out of 10, considering there's an extremely annoying sound every time you alert the Nazis. And it's really not that hard to do. I mean, you climb over a wall and you make them mad. If you learn one thing from this game, if you ever see a Nazi, don't climb a wall because they freak out and they scream. And don't run. Don't run. It's like running with scissors with them. You just run and they get ticked off. So that's another thing. And the whole disguise system, I mean, you're disguised, but if you run, they notice you. So the sound, when you run, you don't really hear it because there's music a lot of the time, which blocks out a lot of the natural ambience. But it's not too much of a problem. It's not very noticeable. The music helps the story, I guess. The achievement difficulty, 5 out of 10, because the majority of the achievements are story-based. I beat the game, got about 700 gamer score in it, so the remaining achievements are extremely tedious. There's a bunch of ambient free-play challenges. You just run up to this little marker on your map. There's about 426 or something of that sort, and you do a small mission, and it's just there's like 420 of them or something. Not 420 when. It's just ridiculous. It's dumb, and I mean, yeah, it gives it a lot of replay value. That's why I gave the game 9 out of 10 for replay value, because all of those ambient free play challenges and the remaining achievements, it's gonna take you a while to go back and do it all. So overall, I give the game a 9 out of 10. It's a really good game, underrated. It has beautiful graphics, great gameplay. I'm not a fan of GTA, and I'm not really that big of a fan of Assassin's Creed, but the child they have conceived is just amazing. So, despite the bugs, it's a good game, and I highly recommend you pick it up. It's not worth, well, it dropped down to $17 here, so go pick it up, because it is definitely not worth $17. It's worth like $34, but you should pick it up because it's so cheap. Alright. So I guess that's all. Join us next when we review Borderlands.
Is it over?
No, it's not over. I'm just getting started.